Hello there, everybody, welcome back, and this is a video that I have been wanting to do for such a long time, and I figured the timing's right due to currently we're on the 43rd season of Survivor. It's airing weekly, and I just felt like, you know what, I'm going to start doing this because there's multiple Survivor topic videos I want to do, but starting off in this, I guess, event, we'll be doing my top 10 favorite seasons of Survivor. Now, don't worry, there's going to be no spoilers, because for people that watch it, it's unlikely if you've seen all these seasons, if you're a big fan or not. So I just want to be as vague as I possibly can. But with all that said, here we go. At number 10, we have Survivor, Edge of Extinction. Now, yes, this list, as you can tell, if you are someone who loves the show, is going to be really unpredictable, because a lot of my picks on this list are some that people might not like or might think is bottom tier Survivor, but Edge of Extinction really hooks my interest, and the reason why it's so low on this list is because it, like, the first couple episodes is really enthralling, because the Manu tribe that has, you know, Kelly Wentworth, you know, the Wentworth, and you have David from Survivor Millennials versus Gen X. You have that tribe with those two, and then you have this other tribe with two more returning players, and Aubrey and Joe, and it just feels like that other tribe, that's you get so much content from them because they suck so bad as a tribe. Like, the people of that tribe go to the first 4 tribal councils of the season, and of course you have the twist being the Edge of Extinction, which I won't dive too much into, but it makes a lot of people mad because it breaks traditions on what Survivor is, even though it is kind of similar to the Outcast twist for Survival Per Islands, which I'll get into later. And it was such a unique watch, and the final episode of it is so unpredictable because almost everyone has a chance to win the game in the cast, and it just made for one of the best watch experiences that I've ever had in Survivor. So with all those reasons, that's on the list. Alright, now at number 9, which has become kind of a cult classic in a way for the Survivor fandom, is Survivor Gabon. Now, this season almost made Jeff quit the show. It was in the dark ages, I'd say, of Survivor, where Jeff just kind of didn't really give a shit. He just wanted to stop being host from behind the scenes stuff we hear. But this season, looking back on it, it's such a fun, unique season that is so unpredictable. Strategy is kind of thrown out the window in the best way possible. People getting petty over shit like cookies and just getting real personal and stuff. And that could be kind of icky, but this season does it, and like how it's presented to us as is it's just really, it's kind of dark humor, really. It's really entertaining to watch, and there were so many standout characters in this season that I just had to put it on the list. I love this season so much for all the goods and bads. At number 8, which is one of the top tier seasons by many in the community, is Survivor Pearl Islands. Yes, this season kind of revitalized the Survivor franchise, because after like the first 2 or 3 seasons where it was like everyone could not stop talking about it, it was like up there, they kind of went into a few seasons of a lull where they were underrated seasons like Marquesas, or said to be the worst season in the show's history like Thailand, and someone who a lot of people felt like wasn't as deserving as the other person that should have won, according to a lot of people, and Amazon. There was a good couple season period where Survivor was really starting to lose its footing, but Pearl Islands came back, rejuvenated the franchise with an all-star cast of great characters, even in the merge. A twist that shocked and kind of pissed off a lot of people, including some of the cast, but has gone on to be such a game-changing, unique twist that is still looked highly upon in some aspects, and an all-time great winner. And of course, the location and the tribes are so iconic in the lore today. I just had to put it on the list. And of course, for a while, I did want this to be my number 1 for a while, but after thinking about it and looking through all these other things, in terms of my criteria, I just couldn't put it there. And at number 7, we have Survivor, Heroes versus Villains. Now, yes, this is the most star-studded cast, or one of the most, I should say, because there have been bigger casts that they've presented to us, like, for example, Winners at War. But this was just like such a turning point, I felt like, where it was such a game changer at the moment, because this was the 10-year anniversary of the show. They went all in, bringing back iconic characters from across the 20 seasons, not just in a specific area. Like, sure, you had some people from Gabon, you had some people from China, which was really annoying because they kept bringing back the same people that played in the same seasons. Was kind of it kind of made the gameplay really boring, because you knew they were going to team up. Like, for example, with like Amanda and James, they played all 3 of their seasons together, so they were obviously going to work together. And even having Serene there, who was in the alliance with Amanda in Fans vs. Favorites, aka Micronesia, like, it's just, that stuff made the season lack for me. And also, in terms of, it's if you watch this and the previous season back to back, Russell does the exact same stuff, and it's just like, wow. But in terms of all that and its predictability and unfortunate early boots of characters that you love so much, it's still a staple in the series, and I just felt like I had to put it on the list because I do have a good time watching it from time and time again. At number 6, and yes, this is going to be another controversial one, because apparently everyone hates this season for the new game breaking twist that's now become a staple in modern Survivor, or the new era Survivor, whatever we want to call it, and that is Survivor Heroes versus Healers versus Hustlers. Yes, I know, that's a mouthful. And with this season, I felt like it was really solid. It had a good, their whole theme about can you keep a secret, and throwing all these sorts of crazy twists and advantages and everything. And just how the contestants go about it and all is pretty entertaining. And once you get into the end game, because the first half of the season's pretty solid, it's fine. But once you get into the end game and you start to see how the show is looking, and you see one of the best underdog / endgame stories, I personally feel. And it's unfortunate that people trash on and discredit this individual, because they're saying, well, production helped them out and there's just no way. And I just felt like it's not very fair on the person. Even if there was a lot of stuff put in there, you can't discredit them, because they're just trying to stay in the game, and they tried to work with all these people and no one wanted to talk to them or anything. So you can't really, in these situations, you can blame the production and all, but I think it's real disgusting really to blame the individual players who have nothing to really do with what's going on. But still, an enjoyable season, lots of good crazy moments, and I just had to put it here. All right, now we have to get to the top 5. I know, right? And these 5 are so interchangeable because I love them all so much, like more than the other 5, obviously. But here I have to do Survivor David versus Goliath. Again, this has to be the best season in the recent Survivor era, because they add stuff that you would think would be trash in terms of all these stupid twists and advantages, but not only do the cast utilize it really well, it's done for great TV effect, and it's like, wow. Like, that's one of my main things about Survivor is, besides the locations and what they do in production standpoints, the main thing that saves the season or not is your cast. And this cast, from early medevacs, quits, merge boots, crazy blindsides, and the eventual final 3, all throughout the cast, everyone has at least a moment to shine. Everyone has something to do in one aspect or another, and from beginning to end, this season was by definition a top tier season, and I adore it so much. At number 4, we have an old school season, which is Survivor Vanuatu. Yes, this season I didn't really hear that much about it, so I guess it's considered underrated, but I wanted to check it out because I was just going through older seasons of Survivor to check them out. And this, I was blown away that no one talks about this more, because it has to be one of, if not the best underdog story in the whole show. And I say one of because there's another season coming up that had a great one as well. But this one, you literally had, the typical men versus women. And once you get through the pre-merge, which is, I'll admit, kind of lacking in some aspects. There are some good moments, sure. But once you get to the merge and you see how it's turning out, you're worried it's going to be just another bland season where you already know it's going to be one of these people that win. but then a wrench is thrown in the plans at a pivotal vote. And then once you get near the end, you're really starting to question who's going to win. And the person that you might want to win, could they win? And it just keeps you more invested. And of course, throughout these seasons, obviously, the score, the theme, which I miss so much. Why did they stop doing it? This one has a great one as well. And overall, it was just a great setting, great cast. Yes. And at number 3, which is one of my all-time favorite seasons, everyone thinks it's dirty and disgusting and how the cast is so mean-spirited to each other. But I don't care. It's Survivor Worlds Apart. Yes, the main reason, because this cast kind of sucks, I'm not going to lie to you. But the main thing that makes me come back to watch it, because I've seen the endgame portion of this season more times than I can count, and it's for the eventual winner, how they're able to pull out against all odds and make it to the end and secure the victory. Is this a great feat? And I just enjoyed it so much. And it is, on the note, one of the only seasons that I can think of where every time an idol was played correctly, which is really rare. And I think that you have to note that as well. And there was some solid challenges that were really entertaining to watch. And, that's pretty much all I have to say. I just love the season. So, yeah. At number 2, which holds a special place to my heart because it was the very first season I've ever watched that really got me into the show for a while before I came back eventually, and that is Survivor Kagyan. Again, as you see with what I've been saying recently, the cast is what really saves it, and you have one of the worst tribes ever in Survivor, and yet some of those members make it to the final episode of the season, which is insane to me. You have great characters, and I mean characters, players. Characters, yes. The eventual winner is wacky, wild, unpredictable, but also really intelligent in their gameplay. You have another solid underdog story that unfortunately doesn't pan out for that individual. You have shock and blindsides, big fights, and it's just good challenges. And overall, it's a cast where everyone, like I've been saying, has a good solid moment to shine. Alright, I'm going to try to be quick with these, but this is going to be the honorable mentions. I have a couple, so let's get through them. And this honorable mention is Survivor Millennials versus Gen X. It was a really good season. It has moments that break your heart for some of the characters who are going through personal stuff. There is a really crazy rock draw that happens. There's other moments in the season that makes it really entertaining, and I just enjoy it. Survivor Nicaragua. Now, this season is really underrated because it came out after the big season of Heroes vs. Villains, and it came out really before the Dark Ages began with, Redemption Island, South Pacific, One World, all this trash, right? But this season, I think, was really solid due to the fact that, again, you can't really predict who's going to win, and all the major strategists get booted out pretty early. Especially in the endgame part, so you're kind of left wondering if you have a cast who doesn't really know what they're doing. You have a lot of interesting choices, and it's just one of those things where you just want to watch it. It's just entertaining. Next honorable mention, you have Survivor Samoa. Another fun season, one of the best players and most memorable to ever play that really rejuvenized the franchise in terms of solo seasons with first-time players. And a controversial win at the very end that really shocks a lot of people. But one of the things that brings it down from being on the list is basically half the tribe doesn't have that much development and screen time. And one of the only people that did got medevac pre-merge. So there just wasn't enough for me to really put it on the list, but I wanted to mention it. Here we have Survivor Guatemala. A very underrated season because it came after, arguably, in my opinion, 2 top-tier seasons. And this one, it felt like you had a solid season, you have a solid underdog story, but it kind of falls on itself due to the fact that the eventual winner wanted to hide their game from production, so there isn't that much to really see about how they're doing what they're doing to make it as far as they are. And you have a cast that is pretty chill. You have some beef moments, but And you have some game-changing stuff like the original introduction of the idol, which has become a staple in the show. So there's some stuff in there that's really good and some solid moments, but I have it here as an honorable mention. And of course, the final honorable mention before I get to number 1 is the original season, Survivor. Yes, Survivor Borneo is the one that started it all, so I felt like I had to put it on there. But of course, like everyone, and I mean everyone, became a household name in the world. Even the finale had over 50 million people watching it. Like, this changed reality TV and just TV in general. It was such a staple, and that's part of the reason why I was able to go on for so long, is because that really cemented a new type of storytelling for, you know, the reality TV landscape. And it had all-time great characters. It was the one that started it all. So here we go. Now, for number 1, which I'm pretty sure some of you could guess what it is, but maybe not after this whole list. But of course, it has to be Survivor Palau. Now, this season did so much that was game-changing at the time. For one, you had the biggest cast at the time with 20 players. You had a tribe that was so bad, they lose, and I mean they lose really hard. I don't want to dive into details, but it gets insane how bad they suck. And you have a lot of other stuff, like you have the longest challenge in the show's history. You have great challenges. You have one of the most iconic winners and just great locations of the show. Like, Palau is such a gorgeous, beautiful place, especially when you're watching. You're like, wow, it's really breathtaking. Like, it makes you as a viewer want to go visit there. And there's just so much going for this season. You have an alliance that's 6 strong, which is very rare from beginning to end, which never happens. It's so rare for that to happen. You have memorable characters from both sides of the tribe. Everyone is really solid. Even people who kind of got screwed in the early twist, which I don't want to dive into, save it as like a surprise. But even they get a moment or two. But all in all, that had to be my favorite season. I love it so much. Again, thank you all so much for watching this. What do you think of my list? I know your list, if you want to put it down below in the comments, is going to be completely different than mine, because I know a lot of stuff I had on my list, a lot of you don't agree with. But with all that said, thank you all so much for watching. It means the world to me, and I'm so happy to finally get this video out to you guys. If you want to comment down below and hit the bell and subscribe, that would mean so much to me, and I hope to see you all in the next video. Bye!